Welcome to Type C Tech Reviews. Today we're going to be unboxing the Alienware AW2725QF. If at any point during the video you want to check out this exact same monitor, there are Dell.com links below at the time of filming. That is the only place it's available. If it's available on Amazon though, we will also get Amazon links below, but let's unbox this. They call this the dual resolution monitor. That's the big deal here. Pretty standard unboxing. Dell does a great job packaging. We've got the bottom of the stand here, the smaller size base, nice and compact, very pretty. It's in that kind of like space gray color. Metal inside, wrapped in plastic, but it's high quality metallic paint. Very nice looking, high quality thumb screw on the back. The dual resolution allows for 4K, because it's a 4K panel, but also for a lower resolution at double the refresh rate. So it's pretty cool. We saw LG's OLED do this as well, but I'm not sure if there's any other monitors besides this one that does it yet. But it seems like it's gonna become pretty commonplace. Let's continue unboxing this. I'm excited. All right, we've got the power cable. Dell always has integrated power supplies, which is super nice, so no power brick. This is very easy to replace. A DisplayPort cable, an HDMI 2.1 cable, and a USB Type B to USB Type A. Then we also get this little Alienware box, probably with some paperwork inside, and we can see a little sticker and some paperwork. Very nice. All right, but lifting off this top, here is the other side of the stand. Let's get this out. No tape on this, very interesting. There's typically always tape, but not with this monitor. All right, so we have the space gray. We've seen this before. It's a very robust stand. Better than the LG's because it doesn't wiggle. LG has their typical corporate like height adjustable arm piece wiggles from this part, but this part is absolutely robust. It is very, very high quality plastic here, but it's high quality plastic, again, in that metallic. We have some details. I always love Alienware's details. And a metal connector for the bottom. All you do is put this, line that up like that, and use the thumb screw, screw it in just with your fingers. And there we go. All right, with that, let's get to the panel itself. They have little perforations there, so you can just open that up, line up your top pins, click it in, and there we go. Pretty light overall. I know it's only a 27-inch panel, but yeah, not too heavy at all. Again, space gray on the back. These are light up, so those do light up. They don't really shine against the wall, and when they do, they're inconsistently bright because the 27 is bigger than the Alien, but that's not a big deal. We have the power right here, then their USB Type B upstream, two USB Type A downstreams. Then switching to the other side, we have our HDMI 1, which I think both of these are 2.1s. And then we have our HDMI 2 here. This is the eARC port because there is no 3.5 millimeter connection. That's what you're gonna need to use for audio. Then we have our display port, and on the bottom chin here, we've got a USB Type C and a USB Type A for quick access. Also, one thing to note is if this is the same as every other Dell monitor, which I'm very much expecting it to be, you do not need to plug in that upstream port to have power to those USB Type A's to charge your phone, your headset, or whatever. You can do that, and that's pretty cool. I'm like 99% certain, never had a Dell monitor or Alienware monitor that didn't do that. Okay. I haven't even looked at the front of this panel. Very attractive. It uses a matte finish. Looks like the bezels are gonna be quite thin. This bottom piece is also kind of new. It's super flat to the display, which I think looks very nice and modern. We have the joystick right in the middle at the bottom chin. This is the way to do it. That's how you should do it. Dedicated power button on the left. And we've seen this before. We have this headphone stand. Yeah. Hey man, if you wanna put it there, it works. And it like pops in, pops out. It's fully metal, but I find it to be pointless. But I guess if you want to hang your headset off of your monitor, make sure it's not heavy because this will kind of like move a little bit. The stand here gets pretty close to your desk. That's a good amount of height, gets reasonably tall, a good amount of tilt here. It has swivel, not the craziest amount of swivel, but a decent amount. And then you also have rotation. Should be both ways. Yep, you got it both ways. With that, we're gonna get it plugged in, do the initial impressions, gaming test, and a ghosting test. Remember, this is just the unboxing and initial impressions. We'll have a full review coming in a few days, so make sure to subscribe below for that video. All right, turning it on with the dedicated power button, and there we go, it's up here. Let's choose English. Immediately it has the Dolby Vision up there. I don't know if you guys saw that, but Dolby Vision came on. Hopefully this doesn't have the bug that the AW2725QF had. They did remedy that, so this one probably has that fixed. All right guys, with it up now, initially, Colors look pretty decent. Just looking at little parts of white here, it doesn't look like it's off. The colors look good. It doesn't look shockingly off, obviously just visually. But let's go into the menu system here, and we can see FHD. So we're in the full HD mode, and we're gonna just continue there. It looks like by clicking that, we went into the 4K mode, or maybe we went, no. So this is the 1080p mode. If you click 4K, then it's gonna go into the 4K mode. Okay, so now we're at 4K. Again, Dolby Vision comes on. We're gonna go into display settings here. We can also see G-Sync compatible device connected. So NVIDIA sees this, which it's got the thing down here. Not sure if it's full G-Sync or G-Sync certified. So we are at 3840 by 2160, and we are running 60 Hertz. Let's pop that up to 165. But before we do that, this is supposed to have an overclock. All right, so going up to the menu system, we're gonna start at game. We have different preset modes. It's interesting that this is super pixelated. It's like the menu system is in a 1080p mode, and it never goes out of that, at least initially. You can see Dolby Vision is again on. I'm noticing some weirdness. It kind of feels like I'm just tripping out, but yeah, there's like weirdness to the monitor. Again, initial impressions, have not done my research on this panel. That's what I do during the review process. This is just initial impressions. I know just basic data, but there is like a separation of the screen where you can see that the screen is farther back. I wonder if that's maybe how they do the technology. I'm not really sure about that yet. That's what I'm excited to research and learn about. But once you start kind of going to the edge, you can see that the screen is like back, and it's almost like the edges will start bending, and you can kind of see where the screen ends, and the brightness variates. But when you look straight on, it doesn't seem to variate at all. A very strange thing. Never seen that before, but we'll talk about that in the full review. All right, let's continue going on with the menu system. Again, in Dolby Vision right now. Let's go down actually, make sure. Yeah, so we can maybe turn Dolby Vision off. Let's turn Dolby Vision off for right now. Now that that's off, we still have the Smart HDR. Obviously, when you have Dolby Vision on, you don't have the Smart HDR stuff. We have HDR 600 custom color, which is super nice. That means that you can actually go in and change the colors in HDR, which Dell Alienware are doing a phenomenal job with that. Very few other monitor companies are doing that, and that is awesome. All right, so that was my bad. I had HDR on. In standard here now, it is pretty dim, but we haven't changed the brightness. FPS is a little bit brighter. Mobile RTS, RPG, Sports, which gets very bright actually. Creator, super dim. Game 1, Game 2, you can go in and change the things inside of this. Response time gain, hue saturation. That's really cool, especially if you have a lot of different people using your monitor. We're gonna leave this in standard for now. Colors look great also. I think this is covering 95% of the DCI P3 color gamut. We're gonna push this up to 100% bright. That's very nice and bright. Yeah, that's great. I mean, it's got a matte finish. We're gonna check how thick that is, but colors look really, really vibrant. I mean, it's an IPS panel, so you're not gonna get deep blacks here. It's a little bit more like, you know, it's not like an OLED, which I just came from, but still looks great. Really strong brightness, really good colors. Now, here's where we have our input source. We have our DisplayPort, HDMI 1, HDMI 2, auto select. We can change that on and off. Then we have the dual resolution, which looks like we can change by our sources. So dual resolution sync on. I don't know if that's what that is. Like you can sync them to, I don't know, it might be completely off there. But we also have the prompt, which we turned off already. Yeah, options for DisplayPort, HDMI. Very cool. So there's a lot of customization. We have the alien lighting. So you can go to the power button down there and I'll change the color. Let's do a orange, and then you can go red. We're gonna keep it on teal though. So that is a little cool. I do like the power button a lot. You guys know that. Continuing on, display, we've got sharpness, we got the Smart HDR, Dolby Vision again, picture in picture, picture by picture. It's a little bit small panel to do that on, but you have that option. We then have our shortcut keys. If you want to customize them, like before you actually enter the menu system, you can like kind of go through those little shortcuts, which is cool. We've got LCD conditioning. You're probably not really going to need that. And then some other stuff like color calibration report. That's pretty cool. That's actually very cool. Got our Delta E's, Gamma 2.2, our sRGB, grayscale, gamma, very, very cool. That is something I really appreciate. And then we have the factory reset. All right, let's jump into NVIDIA control panel, see what this thing can do. We're at, wait a second, before we go to NVIDIA control panel, Where's the 180 hertz, Dell? We have to have missed something. No, there we go, overclock. I'm just stupid. I didn't even go through the game stuff. All right, game enhanced mode. We got frame rate timers, all that crap. I mean, it's good stuff, but yeah. We got response time settings, which we will test at the end of the video. Alien vision, I've never used that before. We have hue saturation. You can use those in different modes, not the, why are we in game one? We're supposed to be in standard right now. All right, in standard, brightness is all the way up, overclock, 180 hertz. Yeah, baby. Now we're at full 4K, 180 hertz. We're gonna see if this thing can output 10 bits of color, and it can, even with its overclock, which is great, which I would expect, because it's capable of 360 hertz. Now, I am curious to see if this uses the resolution halving that we've seen on like TVs before. I've reviewed TVs with resolution halving that basically can lower the resolution and then increase the refresh rate. Is that the same technology they're doing here? I guess we'll find out, but it's kind of cool. Outputting 10 bits of color, 4K, 180 hertz. We're gonna do some gaming at 180 hertz, then we're gonna switch it. We're gonna set all the settings to low to get maximum frame rate, and then we're gonna do 1080p at 360. Let's do it. All right, guys, jumping right into game here. We are at 4K, we have low graphic settings on, but we're at 4K, 180 hertz is the overclock setting, and it looks exactly as you expect. It's an IPS panel, good colors here, good brightness. The contrast ratio is, nothing special because it's an IPS panel, but there's zero shame in having an IPS panel. I love IPS panels, and if you want to keep them on for a very long time, they're great. And everything looks good here. I mean, except the low graphic quality, but besides that, 180 hertz is reasonably smooth, and especially 4K on a 27-inch panel, it's really overdoing it in my opinion with PPI, but it's super crisp. Even if you're like here, it's still very, very crisp, very lifelike. However, I think the big showstopper here is gonna be the full HD. Let's do it. All right, so we're gonna go over till we see full HD, click it. That's super easy, few seconds. I didn't even know how to do it. Now, the only thing is that we're gonna change this to 1920 by 1080, and then we have to change the refresh rate 359, basically 360 hertz. Again, an NVIDIA control panel. We can still output 10 bits of color at 360 hertz, 1920 by 1080. Obviously, the resolution at 1080p is going to be more pixelated, and it looks different, if that makes sense, than a 1080p 27-inch panel. Because it's kind of like fake full HD. It's like fake 1080p, if that makes sense. So what it actually looks like is a little bit different. I'm gonna put a 27-inch actual 1080p monitor side by side with this during the review so that we can kind of get some visuals. Hopefully we can get a zoom lens on it and kind of see the difference of what it looks like. But obviously you're gonna have pixelization and it's gonna be more apparent coming from a 4K panel, but if you're just playing an FPS game and you want that crazy refresh rate, lower input lag, which I assume this is gonna have slightly lower input lag in 360 hertz. You never know though, I don't know. But the ability to switch here, let's see how it is. Oh yeah, and now it's just crazy smooth. We're probably getting quite close, if not hitting that full 360 hertz. All right, now we are getting that 360 hertz. We changed the resolution in the game, and I can tell you right now, we're probably hitting in like the mid 200s just visually, but still significantly different from that 180 hertz. Pretty freaking cool, guys, to be able to do that on the fly. That was pretty fast and easy, honestly. That was not a big deal. Really super cool to be able to switch like that. It's so much faster. Obviously, you guys can't see that on camera, but, and again, initial impressions, I haven't used a 1080p 27-inch panel in a very long time, so this might just be like a shock to my system, but it seems like it kind of looks a little bit more pixelated than it would actually be, but again, initial impressions, probably not the actual case, so take that with a big grain of salt. Because I just don't exactly know. But yeah, the coolest freaking thing ever. I mean, if this tech goes into a lot more monitors, it could be pretty sweet. All right, guys, initial impressions with ghosting. We are at 4K, we're in HDR. We'll do another ghosting test in the full review at 360 hertz. Overclock's at 180. Response time is at fast, and it's really minimal. We're gonna go super fast. Causes some pixel overshoot, go to extreme, causes an immense amount. So fast is the best and it's super good. We'll double the speed up here, and there's a little trail, but really, really quite good. It's a non-frickin' issue at that. It's borderline crystal clear for an IPS panel. Again, if you want to check it out, Dell.com, links below. That's where it's available currently. Full review coming in a few days, so make sure to subscribe below. But this was Type C Tech Reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next video.